All right, this is episode 57 of the Indie Creator Exchange. Jake and I are being joined by the creative team of TC Pescatore and Loco Gonzales and their new trade paperback collection of Junction Jones and the Corduroy Conspiracy. Gentlemen, how are we doing this morning?
Pretty good, pretty
Fine,
good.
man.
Good,
Nice to
good,
be
good.
here. Nice to meet you again, boys.
Yeah,
Absolutely. This
glad to be
is
back.
this is what this is what it's all about for Jake and I. Is we always say it's never a one and done, and to get a follow up because the last time we saw you, this is all I had when it came down to Junction Jones, and you guys were plowing along, and you've made it. And it's so exciting, for all of us to see this thing come together. So everybody that's watching, there's a link below. Episode 31 of the Indie Creator Exchange is when we first had TC and
About
Loco
a year ago.
on, and man, we had a great time. Really getting all that was going on between them in order to get this together. TC
Yeah,
is
the
TC
hard
is
part.
TC is primarily writing the words. Loco is drawing the pictures. But I've got a bunch of questions about uh, the wholeness of it as like a graphic novel. But I'm going to let Jake jump in, and then we're just going to keep rolling.
Yeah, so the last time we spoke was about a year ago, and you guys were putting
Hmm.
out individual floppies, right? But now we have this
Yep.
substantial compiled uh, piece here. And when did this get finalized and hit the streets?
I think it came out October 3rd.
Oh, wow.
Although there was some weirdness with pre-orders where it was just shipping, like it started shipping in like middle of September to people
Right.
for some
Yeah,
reason.
kind of came out sooner to our
Yeah,
surprise because usually the experience is the opposite, right?
Right. So
yeah, like
you
way
you
late for
are
us
working.
especially.
And did you guys do a Kickstarter on this? No.
We did not.
Okay, so
No.
what's the arrangement with the Markosia, the publisher? Markosia.
Um, for like royalty and stuff.
No, for getting this
You
out.
mean?
Did they? So you just turn in the pages and then they handle the printing and
Yeah.
distribution.
So they're Yeah, they handle printing and distribution. Their only stipulation was they wanted to remain doing the singles, but only in digital.
Oh, okay.
So they put out like kind of in like rapid succession, like I think maybe every month, maybe one of the digital issues before they got the print ready, the full print ready.
Hmm.
Yeah, they moved on quickly with it. I think it was monthly.
Right. Okay. So that's interesting. If anyone's listening, the floppies that are printed are going to be the only ones extant. They're not planning on reprinting any floppies from here.
Yeah, so it's just and that's how we originally kind of saw the whole thing anyway, was as like one book, not as singles. We kind of had to move things. I mean, we moved a lot of the stuff around for the singles, and kind of had to come up with covers and
How many
like
floppies
back
we
covers.
had published?
I think
Four
three made
or
it out.
three?
Four?
The
Yeah,
first three,
three. I think three.
So
Yeah,
there was three floppies.
I
but
think
the
three
Yeah,
made it to print.
three made it to print.
got
Hmm.
it. So yeah, for anybody listening out there, those three will be maybe a little more collectible, and then from here on in, you have the Junction Jones graphic novel. So this is I consider like a sci-fi detective story, like a kind of noir influence, and we spoke about all that before. But
Hmm.
why don't you give us your short summary of the storyline, and then we can talk a little bit about the um, the creative roles after that.
Okay, yeah. You want me to go with this, or
The
you?
writer. Yeah, let's have the.
Please do.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
the qualified.
Would you like to interpret my words and describe it? Yeah, it's a. I've been calling it like a. Originally, I was calling it like I had this like random. I had this like long word salad about what it
Uh-huh.
was. But I've recently been calling it a cyber folk
Cyber
punk
folk punk.
because
Whoa,
it's
that's cool.
mixing elements of like yeah train travel, hobos. But the main story is about two, I don't know what you would call them, washed up detectives. One's a failed biological laborer from this post-apocalyptic world called the Junction,
Mm-hmm.
and his partner is a cat with an alien in its brain, and they stumble upon a cover-up murder and are blamed for it, and then have to exonerate themselves to survive. So they have to solve the
Right.
mystery of the hobo, murdered hobo.
Yeah, and like visually, the world reminds you of kind of like a futuristic, maybe you want to say like a Blade Runner type world where like
Hmm.
society is still there, but things are different. There's a lot of robots, and automation and
Hmm.
technology, right? Complicating matters. And
Yeah, we kind of wanted to do the like take like 1920s industrial society and then like Blade Runner it basically.
yeah, yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I think Blade Runner has become a subgenre personally. I mean,
Hmm.
and it makes sense because it was so like what do I want to say? Like axiomatic, when it first came out, like why haven't we been doing this all along? And a lot of people just
Hmm.
jumped aboard. Um, I think we lost Loco, but
I just want to add that, especially Loco's handling of the cyberpunk tech noir or the cyber folk tech noir it's done so well because as we were just saying about Blade Runner having such a visual heaviness, I think people just end up amplifying that, and it ends up being all of these like hot pinks and
Mm.
all of this, and it's not as dingy and dirty down there. Loco, do you want to speak to like what you were using to keep your palette muted and your designs motivated?
Well, uh, I didn't thought that much about it. I was just I think it's a bit of my style. I like to work heavily with mostly with lines. If you pay attention to the line work, most of the time I'm not even modulating it. It's
Mm,
like a 3 pixel dot, and that's about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Later on the story, I started experimenting with a little bit of texture, but the idea is that because I'm obsessed with objects and science fiction and city planning and that kind of stuff and machinery, inventing machinery. So I always been influenced by Moebius, for example, and
Yeah.
all that generation that came before. So it was just a bit natural. I just focus on the designing of the characters and the city, and I saw the story pretty much in black and white. The at least most of it. So I just restrain myself for using too many shades
Mm.
because that could get crazy quite fast. So and not to the point probably. So I just um solve it in probably black, white, and 2 or 3 shades in the middle. And that was about it. The rest of the aesthetic, I think it came out pretty naturally.
Man.
because when you have to solve with the same limitations that, I don't know, that noir or black and white film had to, well, using the basic composition strategies that everybody uses, you end up with something a bit similar, I guess.
Yeah, because the other thing is the Otomo Akira, especially his manga. Having, I think that similar passion for city planning and
Yeah.
just standardized like linear tech and everything. So the way you handle it though is a lot more organic, which I think leads to Tom's cyberfolk theme. So
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah, because a lot of
Yeah,
it comes out from the description that Tom's made, the logic of the city, if we can find some, but the graphic, the visual logic of the city, right? So it all goes down from there, and the idea visually is always trying to make sense of it. I mean, the most possible sense. So I think if part of that came through the reader, well, it seems to be more alive.
So, I noticed that there's a lot of well, take us through like there's a obviously there was a couple of separate floppies that are compiled here, but you do go through a couple of different visual style changes. One of which is going
Yeah.
from black and white to not full color, but like a duotone color, right? We have this blue section, we have the red section. So you guys, it seems as though you were just starting to slip into like a little more creativity with the color as you went on. So how did that?
yeah. Well, I think also one of the funny I think like internal reveals of the world is that it like is literally black and white.
Oh,
Like it is like torn of color. So there's like a section that quickly goes to Earth, and you see that like Earth is
Right.
like colorized. So yeah, so there is elements of like this world literally is like sucked of and devoid of color and living in black and white.
that's
Uh,
interesting. I mean, we've seen that
yeah.
kind of vehicle used in like Wizard of Oz and a lot of other
Yeah, yeah.
stuff, or music videos. One of the funny things that TV commercials do sometimes is like the whole world is black and white until you buy whatever the product is, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden it's
yeah.
jumped into color. Yeah, but how much of the how much of the I call it like all this Watchmen matter. How much of that is new?
Mhm. A lot of it was like cut from the like if there was going to be 6 issues, and then I was able to just like add it all back in. A lot of it's kind of like I would say like it's an elements of like the original idea prior to it being a comic, um, which
It's
was
like
like to
it's
present.
your research material. Your research
Yeah,
material.
yeah, it's
It's
basically a
kind of like
research
that, right?
material for
That's what it feels like.
understanding the. Yeah, it's research material to understand like the kind of absurd surreal world that they exist in. That these would be like the evidence or the foundational elements of the story, and they somewhat
Yeah.
connect. Sometimes they're just like so tangential they don't connect. And we didn't want to really telegraph any of it. Obviously, right there is like the ad for Junction Jones, like his body form, like his like labor form is that poster there. So
Right.
Um, yeah, it's always tough when you have any text. I mean, there's so many comic
yeah,
buyers that just skim anyway. Um, and it's
yeah,
tough enough to get them to read the word balloons and get into the story. I mean,
yeah,
and I'm guilty of it myself, but that's only because of time. Like, I definitely want to sit down and read all these
yeah,
comics I have, but like, but when? Um,
yeah,
so a lot of times we're like, wow, this is cool art. I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna keep it in my box, and I'm definitely gonna sit down and read it from cover to cover as soon as I can. And then they just keep buying more stuff.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
for the people that do like kind of slow down and really get into it, I mean, you have some really dense text here. Like, this is like a small print size. So, like, like right there, you're telling like a lot, like 70% of the seniors are not going to be able to read that without a magnifying.
yeah.
But even if you don't, even if you just pass by it and you're just looking kind of like at the graphic design and you're just looking at like the title,
Mhm,
you do still appreciate that there's a lot of work in here and that this is a very thought out plot, a lot of detail, and there's always more that you could go back in and read at a later time. So that does
mhm,
bring value, and it also kind of like separates your sections of sequential art. So maybe you call that like a
mhm.
palette cleanser, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so those are good, and it also gives some substance to your book here without requiring the sequential pages. So you can have a I mean, this is a very substantial story here.
yeah. And like I mean, I enjoy them, but I don't think they're like necessary to understand anything. And that was like I wasn't. There's nothing like hidden in there that would reveal anything of the story that the comic story that you're
Yeah,
reading to.
we're going through
I
that
don't think.
ourselves because when we put out our anthology, we're going to be having some illustrated uh, text pages, and
Mm,
we're gonna keep this in mind. We're really just gonna like shorten it, maybe like 6 paragraphs on a page that have pictures in between. So really like bribing people to read it, right?
mm.
Those are always considerations. What about this? I don't know if we asked you this in the past, but what about this dot matrix quality to some of these sections? You notice that, Kurt? The kind of like
What are you speaking?
the
What?
dot matrix. You know what I'm talking about? It's like there's some shading areas and there's some stuff where it's made of little what looks like computer dots.
It's like an airbrush, like a stippling airbrushy kind of thing.
And let me
Well, at some point of the story, I mean, trying to get consistent with each issue, but at some point, each new issue, I was trying to avoid boredom. So I just introduced just a little new thing that I could be doing that will
Ah,
make it more interesting. So at some point, I don't even remember in what issues, but I was doing just a dot matrix pencil in
oh
Photoshop.
wow,
I also
whoa!
and if you look closely, like in issue 3 or maybe 4, starting with 4 maybe, you will notice that the line gets more
right,
scribbly, and it's like it's not such a perfect a 3 or 4 pixel dot line
yeah,
anymore, and stuff like that. And sometimes it's not even a different pencil, but it is a filter that I apply to distort the line just a little bit
Wow!
afterwards. So it is that kind of stuff that I don't know. I was trying to get a natural line, or to filter it in an interesting way that maybe won't look digital like at all. Um, I mean, my own lines are not at all perfect, and I don't use stabilization or anything like that. So that's already kind of there, but I was trying to very hard to avoid any, I don't know, digital um,
right,
hints.
yeah. It's really interesting now that you're explaining that. You were drawing a pixelated line in Photoshop on purpose because it's like once you're noticing it, it's hard to nail it down, unless you're really zooming in. But I'm noticing how about these areas of shading, like where Yeah,
Yeah.
so I understand how you're doing the line work, but what do? You like grab an area and then you use a pixelated fill to get that?
Yeah, I don't even remember the process because I was changing it constantly, and the only constant it will be that the result is not that obviously different or sharing for the reader, right?
Right, right.
But usually the process starts like the same with the baselines and then laying out the gray tones and the dark tones. But the thing starts afterward. Maybe it gets a little bit crazy because I start for a couple issues. I started doing some half tones with that half tone pencil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes I get bored of my restriction that every shade needs to be flat. So you start to see some little gradients like those. I started experimenting with, I don't know, whatever pencil that I think, oh, this is nice for rendering. So the pages that you were showing before, these ones are really flat if you see, but the ones that you were watching
yeah,
before, I just started to introduce a little bit of rendering, but trying to not to stray too much for the aesthetics. So it's like trying to amuse myself without bothering anyone, without confusing the reader or something.
it's
Wow.
really interesting because it's not, it doesn't bang you over the head, and so because of that, it's just
No.
like, a slight percentage that you notice, and it's interesting, for people that have been following the technology, of dot matrix printed. Like I was commenting on watching Alien, not just the Alien movies, but also that new TV series they had, because they're so far in the future, but they're using
Yeah,
like these old green screens on purpose all the time, right? And it's I think they did that in Hunger Games too. It's like they're way out in the future, but they're also using some throwback technology, just to get this kind of like cyberpunk, look out of it. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, it's that kind of
yeah,
retrofuturism that I think started heavily with the Alien movie, and I think the Alien movie, maybe there's some before, but it's all that cyberpunk aesthetic,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That
So, yeah, so
uh,
good job
re-
of like, it makes sense how you're saying it. You just kind of keep changing things, a little bit, and and like sometimes it's not even that noticeable. So I think just the right amount. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, and if you see the aesthetic of JJ in the first issue, and you go along the different issues, you're gonna see that even if the basic design of him, like the basic shape design, whatever makes him recognizable, has been changing just a bit. Like sometimes he's a bit more realistic. Sometimes he's a bit more
yeah,
grounded. In the first issue, he was more cartoony. I like experimented with different shifts in proportion,
right,
right? Also without ruining the original
yeah,
design.
right. It's interesting because it makes it like like a fluidity to it, right? Where things are always shifting around, but only a little bit, and maybe people don't even notice, right? Maybe some people don't even notice.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, hopefully, because if it is very noticeable, I think it will, I don't know, screw the reading experience, right? It makes the reader feel weird.
Well, I think readers should pick up this book. You don't have too many like really good like substantial stories coming out that often that you can dig into. So maybe Kurt wants to shift a little bit to the business side of things, but
Oh, not
oh,
yet,
not
not yet,
not quite
not
yet.
yet, because the I because the one like I opened with. I mean, there's something else that I want to add to my like. this feels like it defines graphic novel. Like you guys respect somebody who would want to really get in and read the words and the pictures of something that is, of a novel length. It's not 4 comic books shoved together to be then sold as a trade paperback. And just to kind of, I want you guys, especially I want Tom to talk because of the duality of his nature as like archivist and poet, in weaving those together. But I also don't want to forget that, I want to talk about you guys getting a movie deal or a television series deal. But Tom, what is it that has you constantly expanding on Junction Jones in a story making motivation?
I think like similar to what Luciano was talking about getting bored. I have that element as well. Like I don't want to tell the same story, or like I get bored when I'm telling the story. So I'm like, I need to put elements in this around that would make a whole. And I think that's like the poetry element,
right,
of like how I work, which is like I don't see something in like a linear way. So I'm like, I'm writing a linear story on purpose.
Oh my gosh.
So like I need to build a narrative around that is not linear.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, okay, here's another way to phrase the question. And I think we did cover this in the last episode, but did you sit down before writing anything wanting to write a novel?
I did, yeah.
Okay. So there is this huge chunk of information you're basically portioning into your head and consciousness, saying, "Okay, now once I get somebody like Loco to do the
and then what happened was that when we started working together, like the book exploded itself, like the comic aspect of the book, like grew exponentially as we're working,
That has to be spoken to as well, because you guys are a perfect match. It is seriously obvious, because you're also I mean, by now you're going to be speaking a similar language in trying to explain who you are, what you're doing, how you're doing it. But that's also like it has to be a natural thing, like without it having to be forced. Because somebody's getting, you got to get paid at the end of the day, and come on, get your shit together. We got to get, what I mean? Like it sounds and feels more like, a work of art, in very much a driven and in a very driven way. And you guys are not even on the same continent.
Yeah, most of it was done through like a chat, like a messenger app.
Wow.
So.
I'd love to see that. I would love to see that, because it has such a like I said at the ends of our last Making Turbo episodes, and promoting that this interview was going to be coming up, which was like, I guess like 3 weeks to a month ago, that you'd sent us copies. I have been literally like digging at it as a novel. Like novels overwhelm me. Like I'm like, oh crap, page one of 370,000 pages. You know what I mean? Like that's but because you can jump into this, you can jump straight into like, something like this, or, like I just recognize this too, it's just like, I'm not so worried about what's going on right out of the gate, and maybe that's also something going on with the world. But I think it's just, it's done consciously. I really want to leave it at that.
And there's like an element to the art in that I like in the first issue. I stuck Luciano like in an alleyway, and then like as the book progresses, you open up the world more and more to
Yeah.
like the larger Otomo kind of
Yeah.
like see where you are in the very end. You don't get to see that in the beginning. The beginning is like an alleyway that could really be anywhere, and then you're in like a sewer system. So we wanted to like delve into the depths of the world in the alleyways before we kind of brought it back out to like the larger picture at the end.
Well,
You
you
should have
really.
read some of the descriptions that Tom wrote as the world started opening up, because sometimes they were very concrete, but sometimes they were like, Jesus, how the fuck do I draw this? What does this means? And
Well, that goes both ways because when you turn in the art, when artists
Yeah.
turn in the art, sometimes the uh, the writer or the publisher or the editor, receives them and says, "What did they do with that story?" So that goes.
I always felt like I was like, oh man, this is better. Now I gotta change. Like I'm like editing the document. I'm like, you're not started on like page 19, are you? Because I got edits now for that.
Well, that's a great thing about indie comics, and I don't know how they are, at Marvel or something like,
Yeah.
oh, you didn't
Mm-hmm.
follow the caption on page 3, you know, but
uh,
but with indie comics, it is such a journey of twists and turns, and I and
mm-hmm.
Kurt and I are just loving it because we commissioned Ken Landgraf to do a 6-pager for our upcoming anthology,
Mm-hmm.
and the script did not bear very much resemblance in the end to the artwork, but it's still just magnificent artwork, and so it takes maybe a little bit of like shoehorning at the end to get the word balloons. All right, we got to add an
Mm-hmm.
extra description here, or something, or maybe something's out of sequence, but it's not a big deal. So it's all fun and games, I think. So what about with you guys there? You guys really have grown to kind of understand how the other guy works, and it kind of like settles into like
Yeah.
roles, where you're both kind of like shaping this thing on the fly. Anybody can.
well, I felt like with the progressing different scripts and the corrections and whatever, like Tom was like anticipating me at some point. Like he started like working on what more or less he knew I will come up with also. So it's a back and forth for sure. I mean, the good thing is that he's not a stickler with the script. So he gave me a lot of freedom to experiment sometimes. Sometimes I stuck with the narrative when he's very clear sometimes with the visual narrative. There's some pages and pages that he really knows exactly what's the shot he
Yeah,
wants. So there's a bunch of pages that visual narrative is really him, and I'm putting the mood, the drawings. And there's other times that he likes, let's go.
yeah,
Yeah, this thing is happening, and it's like, yeah, this is your thing now. So it's a mix. It's constantly a mix.
right. Yeah, that's what we were talking about, and it sounds like you guys are enjoying the ride.
Yeah,
It's very organic. You guys have it's a very cliche, overused word, but definably, it just comes across. I just really want
yeah,
that to be said.
No, I'm glad that it does. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and in anticipation, having had the first taste, you guys really accomplished a delivery at the end, which is a very difficult thing to do. Where especially when there's two people involved, and I'm not really
yeah,
into drawing this that much this way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But you're allowing each other that breathing room, but
yeah.
the breathing is happening inside the context of the story, so it's being held vision wise. So congratulations, seriously. um, So business wise, you guys are published by Markosia, and they're out of England.
Yeah.
You guys had just got the deal, if you will, because there was a situation with Scout Comics we're not going to go into because it's been over a year. And we moved on. But the two big questions I know, because in your indie reels, update reels, Tom, you have been talking about everywhere you can get a hold of this. So do you want to speak more towards the maybe choice of going with Markosia and their distribution model?
I think like I found in the U.S. at least the publishers I was talking to, they were really hesitant because like there had been 3 issues printed previously.
Right.
So they didn't want to like pick it up. I'm guessing, I don't know if it's something to do with like internet traffic or just like publishing rights or whatever. They didn't want to, even though we were fully released, I don't know what the legal stuff like that, I don't know what there could be.
Right.
But I felt like Markosia was like kind of, willing to do like what we wanted with the book, how we saw it. And I don't think they don't have like store distribution, so that was like up to us, and I didn't mind like
you're talking about
calling and emailing.
You're talking about comic book store.
Yeah.
They don't have any comic book store, but they do have basically like the global distribution through publishing,
they do.
Which is Barnes and Nobles, Amazon.
Yeah.
So anywhere basically online, if you were to Google, Junction Jones, you're going to find somewhere in the world in order to get a copy without breaking your bank account at $26 for shipping out of the US. I think that's a major move, positive wise, for indie creators. To be able to get outside of just the control of the states and shipping. So, and the fact that they're located in England, I really like, because that's also a pretty centralized location, for that distribution, and it's working well for you guys, Markosia, and the distribution.
Yeah.
I think so.
Good.
Yeah, they seem they've been great so far.
Good.
Especially compared with our past experience.
Jake.
Sorry.
No, not at all. I just don't want to. I don't want to pick at old wounds for you guys. I didn't want to pick out. That was that's the Jake had mentioned. Basically, you turned all files over to Markosia, and then they basically put this together for things. So the comic book size trade was their decision, or was it your decision?
That was theirs. They had a specific size.
Okay, so it's kind of like all of their trades are in this library spine edition, stacked up, running across it. Okay.
And it's slightly smaller than comic book size.
Yeah, it's a little.
That was annoying a little bit, but
a little bit. Yeah, it looks like a half an inch. Yeah. It's like a half an inch ish. Well, it's only a half an inch cut at the top. So that is a little. That is a little.
Seems like 96% or 95% or something.
Yeah, that was like a night or two of my life, I think.
Well,
shrinking pages.
Yeah.
I wonder how Americans' eyesight compares to yours.
Yeah, so the funny thing about that is I will speak to some of that text is on purpose, and some was not. Some I wasn't ready for how small it was, and some was on purpose to make it difficult to read, just from my own sadistic nature about the meta text.
That's always good. I mean, I once had an editor that said, like, I don't care what you do as long as it's intentional, right? Right.
Yeah.
So you have a little bit of that going on. So are you guys still creating now on this storyline, or is this like you're taking a break from this character and the world and everything?
So
Well,
we are working on something.
Okay, so it's going.
Junction Jones.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We can't
Just,
step. We couldn't step away. We talked about it.
That's great.
And I asked Luciano. I was like, send me stuff you want to draw, and we'll make the next story about it. So he sent me this long list of
yeah, I
things, and I
made a
tried to put
laundry
everything that he
list
sent.
of bullshit that I just wanted to be able to draw.
Yeah, it's great when you have a good team. You know, I think of it like Lennon and McCarthy, and Jagger and Richards, and Jake and Kurt. We work together well, so it's nice to see a pairing, and you guys are smiling and putting stuff out, and definitely advancing. So it's great to see. So what? So as far as like this upcoming year, you guys have a bunch of appearances, Comic Cons, or what are you guys going to be doing to get the message out?
So I have a signing I'm doing in Maryland at Universal Comics. It's like outside Baltimore on the 22nd this month. And I don't know what's going on with IC3, but we usually do that, and then we've been to SPX 3 years in a row. So
Right, so you're in the circuit. You're definitely doing.
yeah, just cut back from any kind of like major cons. They just weren't fun for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, well, I mean the big commercial cons are just ridiculous for indie creators. I think you get drowned out, and
Yeah,
there's so many people there that are just gawking at cosplayers and you know trying to collect
yeah, yeah,
Labubu's.
yeah. Man, I do. I don't want to be. I've been set up next to like a flea market jewelry place. I don't want to be next to like a
Whoa.
Labubu seller. You know?
Yeah,
Oh boy.
I know.
They don't have an indie space or a more independent, dedicated space, a self-published maybe aisle or something like that in those events.
They do, but you're like in the corner sometimes. Like I said, next to
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
Yeah.
like
jewelry
like
seller.
like you're
Yeah.
lucky. You're lucky if you have a roof.
Yeah.
I was at
Yeah.
a Comic Con in Poughkeepsie about 2 years ago, and I was walking around, and then I saw a table, and the guy was selling all kinds of flavored beef jerky, and I was like,
Oh
I was like,
fuck.
what the hell are they doing here? So
Smack.
I was just like rolling my eyes. I was like, maybe they just do every single convention that comes in here. One day it's
Yeah.
like beauty aids, and the next day it's real estate, and I was just laughing at it. But when I came back around the next time, a lot of people ended up getting hungry, and they were buying
Yep.
some grape jerky. Well, hey, what do I know? So, Kurt, how are we doing on time?
We're actually right on time. We try to keep these episodes bite size. And we, like I said, this has been a fantastic update, and a fantastic accomplishment for DC and Loco. We're glad to have you here. Looking forward to the next time we get together like this, maybe for a floppy or some kind of teaser
Yeah, man.
for whatever's going on over there. But we like to give you guys the outro in letting each of you tell us where to find you, and if you want to share something in the way
Yeah, if
of
there's
what you're
anything
working
else you
on,
got
things
going
just
on that you want to
past
mention, or you want
works.
to recommend something, this is your time.
Tom,
Oh, me first.
you
All right. Well,
first.
yeah. I mean, you can find Junction Jones anywhere, just anywhere online. Books a Million, Barnes and Noble. Amazon, I guess, bookshop.org. It's up on all those. Just search Junction Jones on there. You can ask your comic shop if you want to. They can get it for you on comic if your comic shop has Comic Hub. Um, yeah, that's about it. And I can't remember what Luciano calls the thing we're working on now. He named the folder. We don't have a title yet. I think he named it like
Uh,
Mr.
oh
Niblets and
yeah,
the incredibly long subtitle or something like
Okay.
that.
yeah, yeah. It was along those lines. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's something cooking in the works, an untitled project, right? For sure. And how about you? Do you have anything else you're working on, and or is it just
Well,
this project?
nothing interesting so far. I've just been paying my bills, so using uh, another pseudonym. So not been a particularly fun year, but that's gonna change because there's more Junction Jones coming
Nice,
eventually, and
nice.
some other projects that I will define eventually. So uh, yeah, listen to Tom. Go get your Junction Jones because there's more to come, and you're gonna get behind, dude. So yeah, and follow me on Locomotion Gonzales in Instagram. You're not gonna
Nice.
repent. I want your likes, please.
Yeah.
All right. Also, too, both of you will be on the list. Well, Tom, you're already on the list. Loco, I have your email now for our indie creator update reels. So, and it is very much a fluid thing. Tom, I just want to thank you for, contributing almost every month and being able to hear about what you're working on, obviously with Loco. And then Loco, if you have some other things you're going to just point people through, you'll be getting at the beginning of each month, the invite, if you will, to the indie creator update reel. But other than that, we'll let these people get back to reading comics, making them if they choose. Jake?
So thanks everybody for tuning in. Check out our main channel. We have the Turbo Pit Fighter YouTube landing page, and every Sunday 10 a.m. we're live drawing. We'll be back again next Sunday, and check out for the posting of the Indie Creator Exchange, which you just watched, and also the flip throughs that we do on comics that influence. So those are our three channels, and catch us anytime on social media. Doom Mags. We have Doom Mags Instagram, Doom Mags Substack, and doommags.com. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you guys real soon. Peace.
All right, Jake. I'll see you next Sunday.